All right. I made a video years ago about using this inexpensive drill trigger as a accelerator pedal for a power wheel. And there's been a lot of questions on the video. Frankly, I probably wasn't too sure of what I had actually accomplished when I shot the video. But I think I have understood what I did by rewatching it now, years later. So let me give you an idea here. Let's go through some photos that I took of the video. Let's see. This is a shot of basically it, hooked up to the accelerator pedal. And okay, so here's a good picture. There's two switches here. One is speed control, which will change the way the motors, because there's two motors, one on each wheel, whether they're wired in series or in parallel, and that is your speed control. So that's the one in the background. The one in the front is forward and reverse. And I will call your attention to, you see here on the right hand side you have two reds and two blacks going out, but on the other side you just have you have red and black, but they're different. The red is in the background and the black is in the foreground on the left side, and the red is in the foreground on the right side and the black is in the background. So that's the way the forward and reverse system would work. So when the switch was flicked, to the right, it would be forward, and it would output those two wires, which would then go to the speed control. Flicking it to the left would then just have one wire, because you would go slow in reverse anyway. But the key is that the polarity changed, so the motor would operate in the opposite direction. I talk about the stock switch that was in the car originally. It's a 3-prong switch. And this is basically the way it was designed. It's a special switch that I think would apply ground to the motor, so that the motor would generate power and slow down when you took your foot off the accelerator. So if you look here in the corner, you'll see this is the way the switch was normally set up. You had power coming in at all times, and then it would break that power and output power, and the ground was there. The problem with the drill trigger is these metal tabs on the right hand side they vary the ground side. And because this is an electronically controlled device, it's not like a rheostat like the old school ones. It's like a transistor MOSFET. The red and black wires have to be hooked up to the battery, to positive and negative, for it to work. But then the output on those terminals there is going to be ground control only. So what we have to do then is take this switch design, which would be power coming in, power going out, and then change it to ground. I should have redrawn this, but ground coming in and ground going out. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to break the ground side. So the power coming in, we're going to break the ground side as opposed to breaking the power side. So it's going to have power at all times instead of ground at all times. Like this one, the power came in, it would break off, it would go to the switch. It was power side controlled. In the new one, it's going to be ground, splits off, goes into the switch, and then outputs ground. So this drawing is not exactly right. I should have put the power and ground flipped around, but this is what you get for free. Yeah. So here's like a picture of. I think I actually had a better picture of. Yeah. Here we go. So this was like the way the switch was originally hooked up. So the bottom is power, and the top was ground, and the middle used to be power on that red wire. But now the power and grounds stay the same on that switch, right? Because we had actually a voltmeter hooked up in the same spot. And for the drill trigger to work, it needs power and ground. You see the black and red wires hooked in there as well. But the difference is that white alligator clip now coming into the center, going to that red wire, is actually ground coming out of that switch now. So ground side controlled, power at all times. So let me just go back to these other photos. So here you can see the terminal on the side of that drill trigger. I have an alligator clip going to the center of that switch connector. The switch is gone, but it's just the connector now, which then goes to that red wire. And that red wire is this wire in the middle behind the green wire, but it used to be in the front. And now I moved it to the other side because it's actually carrying ground. So you could rewire this yourself, but instead I just depinned. If you watch the video, I depin wires and then move them. So the red wire that's in the background in the middle used to be where the green wire is in the front. And that's because that red wire now is carrying ground. So when the switch is flicked to the right, that red wire carrying the ground connects to those two black wires to go forward. And remember, that red wire now is coming out of that switch control, carrying ground. The green wire, which is a wire that I added in myself, the green wire, this is the best shot that I could see of it, but the green wire actually does a loop there and goes to the red alligator clip. So that is power at all times. The green wire is power at all times. It's connected via that red alligator clip to the white wire, which is your positive from the battery. So positive from the battery is the white wire coming in to that switch cavity, now going out to the green wire to provide power at all times to the forward and reverse switch. It also provides power to the drill trigger power. And your orange wire is ground. The other thing that I discussed, you can see it in the background, the orange wire is up in that electrical tape with a black wire. They used to be daisy chained in together to where the red wire is in the middle in the background because it was ground at all times. So I just pulled those out, left it as a union between the well, it would have been from coming in from the battery. So black coming in from the battery went into that union with the orange, and the orange wire goes to that switch cavity. So you have ground at all times there. And at the switch cavity, you always had power and ground at all times. That's true. At the accelerator switch cavity, but at this switch, forward and reverse, now the green wire is providing power at all times, and that red wire is carrying a ground signal. So that, again, that red wire used to be where the green wire was. I moved it and then ran a different wire into where the green wire is now to hook in power to where the accelerator pedal is. Pretty simple, really. This is the way it used to be. Power and ground coming in from the left, going into that switch, and it was daisy chained off into the switch area. So there was always power and ground at the accelerator pedal, but it would just output power. So power then would just come back into the switch and go out in different polarities. And now we're just breaking we're breaking the control to the switch for the ground, but power is always provided. Power and ground is still always provided in the same spots to the accelerator pedal. Yeah, my drawings are not the best because at the switch, the position of the actually the position of the power and ground are the same. It's just the ground side is controlled now. All right, that's really as much as I can do. I think if you watch these videos, I know it's painstaking to listen to me talk, but if you buy one of these drill triggers, you really need to understand that it's ground side controlled, and that's just the way it is. So I think the first one I bought, I think I broke it trying to understand how it works. I think I took it apart to understand how it works because it was not outputting power. And if there's not a load on it, you're not going to see it modulate the ground side either. So you can't check it with like resistance, like a multimeter. You actually just need to put a load on it, and you'll see it do its job. It will break the circuit, but it's going to break the ground side. All right. Good luck with this stuff. I think it's pretty cool. And, basically, if you look at this, all I have is a metal bracket screwed into the plastic. And so the install was actually like with a zip tie there. It was actually pretty simple to get it to hang out behind that accelerator pedal. So this is a cool mod. Obviously, be careful. You take, you're modifying something, so you need to take care in what you're doing, because you don't want the power wheel to just suddenly come alive and start driving out into the road without anyone in it. All right. Best of luck.